Right, brilliant. So, as I said before, we've covered the first 3 units now, and this is the last of the mandatory units. And there's quite a bit of stuff on here for you, but I'm going to go through that same procedure as before. I'll look at the suggested evidence. That should open up into desktop, yeah. And open that up, whatever's that. When it opens, come on, that's better. And I'll put that to one side and open up the, where have you gone? Amplification. So, say that as well. I'm going to open that up. I'll put you to one side in a minute. So I mentioned before, and I think I gave you a couple of examples where certainly myself and other people have come into education from a different area, and they bring a professionalism with them. Yeah. So that's the difference between a professionalism and a dual professionalism. If you look at the underlying concept of professionalism, the same things apply all the way through. It's your attitude to what you do and how you do it, and things that you will do and things that you will not do, and those are the baseline of good practice, So it's literally defining those concepts and explain ways in which those influence your own practice, how you actually work yourself,
So I've done a little bit on that where I've explained about how that my own experience as how I've started this course. What as a TA before, I was just sort of like just going along and just passing out lessons that I was given. But as doing this lesson, I've been
following instructions.
And now that I'm doing this, I've been given a higher role where I'm actually planning interventions. I'm assessing them, marking them, and adjusting lessons for them. So I've written something like that. Is that okay?
That's fine, because that is becoming professional. That is moving from one concept into another. And that professionalism is how can I explain it? It shows itself best when you're doing something that you want to do. It's got to be something you want to do. I can remember, as an example, going back to when I was about 13. I was not sure at that time what I wanted to do. I wasn't very academic. I was good with my hands. I could make things. And my father worked for the United Fruit Company of America. The name over here was Fifes, the banana people. And one of the ships had come into Liverpool, and they were refrigerated ships at the time, and it was new. I mean, back now, this was 1957.
One ask you, Daddy, please. Go inside. Stop coming in here. Close the door. I'm sorry, he's just being a little silly today.
So that was back in 1957. I went on board with him, and he introduced me to the captain. I was made up, and the captain said, "Are you interested in engineering?" And I said, "Oh, yes. Right, I'll get the chief engineer to take you around the engine room." And it was sort of one of those epiphany moments. I got down there, this is what I want to do, And I wanted to be an engineer from that minute. And basically everything I did at school from there, I was rubbish at most things, but my maths was okay. I was good at metalwork. I was good at woodwork. I was good at technical drawing. I was good at science. And basically, when I left school at 15 with literally no qualifications, I got a good apprenticeship. And I think it was that enthusiasm that got me the apprenticeship as much as the track record. But it was then that I started to shine, because then I got people to teach me that knew how to teach.
Exactly, because they had the experience in that field, didn't they?
I've got somebody now that could teach me how to do maths properly. teach me things I'd never learned at school, or never listened to, probably. And all of a sudden it became easy.
Yeah.
That then spreads into how you want to do things and how you want to present yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that is professionalism in a nutshell, really.
It's true.
Yeah. So,
because I've mentioned on 1.1, I've defined what professionalism. I've defined dual professionalism, and I put an example of, say, a midwife teaching midwifery rather than just an academic teaching midwifery. That there'll be a huge difference in between.
That's exactly right. Yeah. But in the amount of professionalism you put into teaching is no different than the professionalism that you put into the job that you had before.
Exactly, yes.
That's the crux for me. That spells it out. Professionalism is professionalism. Yeah?
Yes.
End of.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why there is this debate, is dual professionalism good or not? I think it's excellent. I think it really better.
Because you bring things to the role then, rather than learn the things in the role. Yeah, you bring a whole host of different things. It's like I would say, why am I earmarked for quality assurance? Yeah? As an engineer, it was absolutely paramount, quality assurance in everything we did. So your role, although it may change, the underlying factors behind it are something that you've been interested in and done for a long time.
Yeah. True.
So look, LO2 now looks at more the policy context of education and training. What happens, what's important, why it's important. So look at ways in which social, political and economic factors influence education today. Now, our education policy. Lots of people have strong views on this, where social factors and political and economic factors influence education when they shouldn't do, or things that politically should be happening and are not happening.
Sorry, yes? No, you don't need any light vote. Yeah, just go like that. Sorry, you just wanted to go vote. I'm sorry, we're getting disturbed today.
Don't worry, don't worry. This is your hour, not mine. So, look at those, and again, as I've said before, the work that you do here is between me, you, and the awarding body. Yeah. Yes. You can put if you've got an axe to grind, by all means, grind it on here.
Grind it in that,
Usually makes for very good reading. And then analyse the impact of those current educational policies on curriculum and practice in your own area of specialism.
It says read and respond. Is that that's a text that's within Unit 4 that I'm reading and responding?
Well, that's in the book, the book that's on the VLE.
Oh, it's the VLE. Okay. Okay.
But read and respond by all means, read and respond. But here you have to use your work, college, school policies to explain how the curriculum development impacts your area of teaching. Also, local education authority, national policies, economics, social factors. Those are the things that are that make a play differently in different areas of the country. Yeah. Up here, we're quite short of resources.
Yes.
Financial resources as well. The cuts have made big differences to what the local education authority can do. And those sort of things you need to look at. So again, look at any pieces that are written on there, and I always charge you back to the net on it. If you just put in social impacts of on education into Google, you'll find a whole host of things on there. Some of it will be rubbish, but something that'll be absolutely pertinent to what you want to say. So you can read that and then put your own slant on that, and then it gives you that information. Yeah.
That's for 2.2. Yes. Oh no, that's for 2.1, isn't it? I would be looking at that, wouldn't I?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a simple example on there. Starting a new course of training program. What are the impacts on teaching and the resource requirements for it? And can you get hold of those because of any political issues or anything else? Yeah.
True.
So I think it's 3 is about, it's 4 on 3. I'm going to look at the understanding the impact of accountability. Let's just move for some reason. Let me shift it back again. Why is it moving? That's better. That needs to move as well. So I want to change it for you before we switch off. So it's looking at the impact of being accountable to stakeholders and external bodies in education training. So that, again, is read and respond. You can use the example of an awarding body like Pearson or NCFE, NCFE, QAA, and what their role is in enhancing your teaching. For example, the use of teacher training. How does it enhance your teaching? So that was, again, you were telling me about that all before, so you've got your answers all that set up.
Exactly.
So it's explain the roles of stakeholders and external bodies in education and training, and explain how being accountable to those stakeholders and external bodies impacts on the organisation in education and training. It's like we have to work within awarding body guidelines for, and this particular award that you were doing is NCFE. Yes. NCFE are the awarding body. It's not written on there, but it doesn't matter. Are the awarding body in this case, and they will stipulate what needs to be done. Now, as with most awarding bodies, with any new course like this, they do not give a lot of information.
No, that's true.
And you have to build. It's not something that you can write assignments for, something like this, because it's very specific. I'll open the other sheet out and I'll explain what I mean about that. Now,
I thought that when you would, so if you got this as a pack, as a new course, that they would give you a whole booklet and explain exactly step by step that this is what we do for this. Is that not what they do?
That is the case with a lot of awarding bodies and with a lot of courses. But there are certain courses, certainly new ones, where professional writers write for a particular course. And Anne Gravels is, you've probably heard her mentioned before. She looks at the specials and the level 4s. But I contacted her about this because I couldn't find any material for this when I first started it. And she said, well, no, I haven't actually put anything together for that because it does mix from bits and pieces from my other units. I said, well, yeah, but it's a bit bigger than that because I don't believe it's a level 5. I believe it's beyond the level 5. And she said, well, I got the impression myself. But again, some stuff's been written for it since, bits and pieces, but most of it I've put together myself because a lot of the writers of this, although they're good, you know, there's nothing wrong with what they put together. It's quite useful and interesting, and it's well written. My stuff may not be quite as well written, but it comes from a lot of experience.
But that document that you put within Unit 4, I found that really useful because it just brought everything, was concise and it brought everything together.
Well, yeah, this is what I'm saying. I've put a lot of experience into that sort of focuses it down. As a teacher, you've always got to remember back to when you were learning and what barriers you found. And if you can then put things together in a way that and get rid of those barriers, then your learners or students will say, oh, yeah, I understand that now.
Yeah, exactly.
And the minute somebody says that to me, I think, oh, that's great, I've got it right. Because different people understand things in different ways.
True. Which
is this one, this piece is for a different awarding body, but I pinched it because it was good. But again, you'll understand what I mean. It gives you the unit aim on here, which is a useful piece on there, and then it comes to essential resources. And what does it say? There are no essential resources for this unit, and it says this on every one. As with other units, it is recommended practice to relate knowledge and understanding to practical experience. This unit provides evidence that is supported by practice, which contributes to an overall 100 hours requirement for teaching practice. It it's actually stating there that, well, actually there isn't any essential resources. It's down to how it's taught and put together. But what it's actually saying there is it's got to be a practical qualification rather than an academic one.
Right.
It doesn't want reams and reams of writing about how things should be done.
Yeah.
It wants evidence of how it is being done.
Being done, yes.
Are you in your circumstance? And that's the difference between this course and quite a lot of the others, which are more purely academic.
Yeah.
I mean, I teach business management from level 3 to level 7, and there are assignments being set up. There are guidelines for assessors. There are indicative content that should be in. There are a whole host of things to support not just the learner, but also the assessor as well.
Yeah.
Because although I'm an IQA and think I know it all, the linchpin of the program is the assessor. Yeah?
Yes.
The assessment's got to be right, and that's the bit that I make sure is right in our organisation. So yeah, that essential resource I like putting that in, and that's why it's highlighted. But again, one, we've looked at that, yeah, and 1.2 we're okay with that. But it looks at explain ways in which social factors. So we're looking at raising standards, widening participation, not in education and training, NEET groups, yeah, trying to re-engage those. It says engaging underrepresented, re-engaging them, because most of the group that are in that NEET group have been through 11 years of education. Yeah?
Yes.
And with not very much to show for it at the end. Now, there are a whole host of social reasons for that, which you can look at in the bags of stuff that you can read into on there, with regard to how that has come about. Yeah. Yeah. Engaging.
That's why I like these what they call apprenticeships, because you don't have to be academic to do certain, but you can still get into the field that you want to. So
well,
it's different.
Because there is actually an apprenticeship. There is now in all apprenticeships. I'm just trying to think of what it's called now. It's called vocationally related qualification, right? Okay. So it's an academic qualification alongside the apprenticeship that puts the underpinning knowledge together and stuff like that. Yeah. A lot of modern apprenticeships have this in place. The engineering ones do tend to stick to, although there are some new ones being written for the ones that are not going to go on to become engineers, but are going to become good skilled tradesmen. They will have a qualification to do alongside of it. But the traditional route of going to HNC, HND in that particular subject is, that's the route I took many years ago. It took me 4 years to get a 3-year HND.
But then it depends on how, if you're doing it part-time, if you're working alongside it, it affects it, doesn't it? Yeah.
As an apprenticeship, you are doing it part-time because you are working, well, nowadays it's 4 days a week and you have a day at college.
Go away, please. I'll talk to you later in 5 minutes. Goodbye. It's just one of those. Last week it wasn't working. Today I keep getting the little one coming in. I have to tie him to a chair later on.
Yeah. The heavy hand of mum.
Exactly. Just give the look. Go away.
Yeah. So this is a big bag of worms, this one, and you can use a whole host of things that you've got an interest in. So again, we move on to political factors, economic growth and prosperity agenda, community regeneration, analysis of education policies in terms of ideological underpinning. I'd like to give an example on that. You've got political factors. Let me put it this way. In the last 40 years, I've seen a sea change in this country. What's happened is we still have.
Go inside. Do not come in here today. Sorry.
we still have 3 groups of people coming out of a cohort at school. When they leave, you will have the higher achievers who are going to go on to uni eventually. You've got the middle achievers, or general achievers, who are going to go through probably go on to college and do a college course or sixth form. And then you've got the lower achievers who've not achieved very much for whatever reason. And those groups used to be split up into, socially, they would leave school, one group would go on to uni, another group would take the skill jobs and sort of more academic jobs, if you like. And then the lower end of the group would take anything else that was going, really, labouring jobs or just working in a shop or anything of that nature. What's happened is, over the years, is that the skilled area that we had has gone. The production industry was decimated in the 80s for political reasons. That has left a situation where we've not changed the education, the way the education's changed. So we've still got that group, same three groups leaving school. The higher group are going to on to university. The middle group are going to take anything that's going. And the bottom group haven't got anything to go for.
Exactly,
So they end up in a neat group. Not all of them, but large numbers of them. And we've not done anything to address that, even though there's been a whole sea change in everything that's happened in the way we had in the 1980s. We had a reasonable wage, high skill economy. Now we've got a low skill, low wage economy.
Okay.
Nothing's changed to actually alter that in the education side. So there are a whole host of things that you can have a look at. Economic factors, reflecting the local employment needs. It all builds into the same thing, identifying and addressing local regional skills gaps, establishing links with the commercial and business activities, and responding, that's apprenticeship, responding to promoting employment opportunities, partnerships, collaboration, impact of globalisation on business needs, responding to the evolving priority sectors, changing workforce demographics. All of those things I've just been talking about now, really. That's the way actually things have changed in the last 40 years. So again, these are examples of topics of indicative content. It's an exhaustive list actually. You can do a broader general piece or more details on a specific matter that you've got interest in. So
I'd have a small bit on, I'd have a bit on social factors, a bit on political factors, and a bit on economic factors. Okay, that's good. It's really good.
I'll drop one and focus on two if you've got an interest in them.
Okay.
And then 2.2 is analyse the impact of the current educational policies on curriculum and practice in your own area of specialism. Now again, you said you spoke to the deputy head, did you?
I spoke to the head.
The head. Speak to the head. They will give you a lot more insight into that.
She was the most useful person to speak to because she just had all the answers, told me which person was which, and I just got on with it after that. And she even emailed those people for me, and they came to find me when I couldn't find them. So it was nice that she did that.
Once you actually declare what you're doing to people, and they understand that, the people that will help will fall out the woodwork.
Because people knew I was doing a course, but then I had an interview for a permanent position in September, and then I explained a little bit more, and I even added that I was doing the assessing on it, and so then luckily I got my permanent position for next year, in part-time, which I wanted. But then since Monday came up, I've been having inundated with assessments, and it's because they realise that I know that I'm learning about it. And I think they probably think I know more than I do. So
it's building up your experience.
Now
there is no substitute for experience, none at all.
Exactly.
I can give you that from personal experience. It works wonders. I've had positions way beyond my educational achievements. Purely because of the experience that I have,
that you have,
and the way that I can portray it. Now that's the difference in between pure academic. I mean, to carry on from what we were talking about before, we've now got large numbers of students coming out of university and can't get a job.
Exactly. Yes, that's true.
Because there's no experience.
Yeah. It's just like when I was doing this TA stuff to begin with. I learned all the policies and frameworks and things, but the first day that I went into a classroom, I had no clue about what I was actually meant to be doing, what I'm meant to teach. So it's, even though you learn a particular side, you don't necessarily learn the experience side. That comes with time.
Exactly, and one of the main things, it doesn't matter what you're teaching, is classroom management.
Exactly.
You have a management role in a very important one, actually, as a teacher, and that makes a big difference. If you can, a lot of teachers struggle to control classes and all the rest of it.
Yeah, we have one of the worst classes for classroom management. But I think I'm glad I'm in year 5 at the moment, because I've always had early years and they've always been very gentle and timid, you know, sitting down on each own.
They've not learned to be stroppy.
Yeah, and now we're getting people answering back and being, like you say, stroppy. So it's a good learning curve. So I'm learning better, I think, now.
Yeah, but you learn to manage that. And one of the things that the kids respect more than anything else is somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
If they've got that little chink that you don't really know what you're at, then they'll ground in on that.
I got asked yesterday from one of the children, because some of the teachers in my class are not very calm, and he's like, I was helping him and he was asking a lot of questions. He said, why are you so calm? I said, but is there need for me not to be? There's no need for me to be shouting at you or screaming at you. I said, would you like me to be not calm?
It's exactly the point. If you show that complete calmness, and you've got nothing to lose by it, kids can see that they're going to waste their time here. It's not going to work, and they just give over. They go and find something else to do. Somebody else to annoy. Yeah, that's how their minds work.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2.2 is looking at the impact of all those things on education today. On some of that, it can also be an explanation of any issue of any policy that directly impacts on your personal situation. Yeah.
Is there something that we should look at curriculum development policies? Because that's what I've been getting hold of from.
Yeah. Well. But if you did in Unit 3, you covered that. Yeah.
Oh yes, you did, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, on Unit 3, you did the theorists of curriculum development. And how you can apply some of those to your actual practice.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, if you drop back into Unit 3 and have a look at that, that'll give you some idea. Because curriculum development can, even within national curriculum, can be, how can I say, adjusted for your own circumstance to get the best out of it. I've always looked at, Curriculum 2000 and national curriculum as guidelines, and how we can put together what we're going to teach that will meet those guidelines, but in a way that's going to meet my learners' needs, not somebody else's in another town somewhere, which is what national curriculum tends to try and do, but your own area. So. One of the things we were going to do was have a look at 3.1, but having a reflection on this, I don't think I'm going to do that, because 2.1 and 2.2 are a big issue. They don't need to be, but if you've got something that you want to say on there, by all means say it, because this is what this learning objective is about. You go back to the learning objective. Understand the policy context of education and training. Yeah. If you drop back to that, all this is all about that. Yeah. It's more a broader view, not just the isolated teaching concept, but why we're doing what we do and why we do it this way. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So that's an important factor on that.
So
I'm not going to give you any more to do on there. I think
no, that's fine. Yeah, because it seems like it could be an in-depth one.
Exactly.
If I was to get into
just have a quick look at 1 and 2, what you've done in terms of what we've just said. Now, if you think
just to clarify, define. That's just another word for explain, isn't it?
Well, it's not. Define it's actually define the difference between the two.
Okay.
The definition, yeah.
I think I've done that, with that,
If we go, put it back to there, I'll just close that.
It's just, the only reason I'm asking because I've not even opened the laptop until today, so it'll be really bad.
If we go back to on the where's it gone? Back on here.
Command verbs. Because I looked online just to make sure I was doing the right thing, and it just said it's another thing for explain, but I just wanted to make sure.
I always have a look at this. See what I've got up now. It defines definition. It defines each of the command verbs. Yeah, and define to give in precise terms the meaning of something. Yeah. Bring to attention any problems posed with the definition and the different interpretations that might exist. Yeah, which is what we said. Yeah, it will mean different things to different people, but ultimately it is the same. Yeah.
So I think more or less what I've done covers it, but I'll make sure that it does.
So that's your definition. If you're unsure about any of the command verbs or not sure how it needs to be done, I'll close that down.
Right, no,
go back.
Thank you.
It's on at the top of the course. A whole host of bits and pieces on here to have a look at. E-books and journals. If you go into there, where it says read and respond. If you want to that, open it up. There's a few on here. Handbook for teaching, a role for teachers and teaching, assessment in education, pedagogy, classroom management, education management, mentoring, pedagogy, curriculum teaching, Susan Wallace again on teaching tutorials, teaching and learning, and electronic portfolio building. There's a whole, bunch of stuff on there. It's quite useful to just have a delve in if you're not sure and have a read.
Okay.
We've put quite a lot of resource on for this in terms of general resource because of the lack of resource on the rest of the units.
Exactly.
I must say, we have put quite a bit in, to be honest.
And I've delved into that a few times, which is helpful to have.
Yeah, but a lot of these here, Word documents, they're either my handouts or there'll be ones I've picked from somewhere.
I'm noticing, in Unit 4, you've got a voice recording is that of a lesson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any of the lessons that I've done are all recorded. They're not all on here, but certain ones of them are. I mean, I've been running this course for a while now. What we're trying to do is build up enough recordings so that we can do less face-to-face like this.
Yes, and we can just
probably once a month we'll have a face-to-face, and the other 3 weeks you can go through the recordings.
Yes.
You've still got the same contact through email and the other ways as well. Or if you wanted to chat, you can just say and we can come on for a chat. All of those things will still be available, but it will also then take some of that load off actually delivering every week so that we're able to have a look more at what I've put in there and say, hang on a minute, I've time to have a look at that, and that's not really good enough. We'll have that out of there. I'll put something in its place and improve those bits as we go along.
Oh, okay. And it's nice that you can go back to it whenever you want to as well, which is...
that's the good bit. And it's like I was saying to the inspector today, I can pick out recordings from any of the tutors and listen to the recording and do like an observation. Yeah.
Then you're not having to physically be there, but you're still able to observe how they've done, But
I can watch them do that delivery and listen to what they've got to say, listen to the interaction with the students, and make a judgment on there or put some recommendations in. It may be something very simple that I think you didn't explain that very well. It could have been rather in, or instead of telling them that, you could have asked them what they thought first, and then corrected it if it needed it, or teased it out rather than just give them the information.
Yeah.
I tend to give information a lot.
I think I've noticed I do that at school too much.
Yeah, and you've got to start saying, what do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what that says. What do you understand by it? Yeah. And I know Andrew, one of the teachers, he does some quizzes at the end. Yeah. This is what we've done today. What do you think? You answer these quiz questions. See what you've learned. Yeah. So they're just things to break up the teaching. The way it's actually delivered. That's all.
And it's to make sure you've actually had an audience that has listened and paid attention to you as well. So yeah.
So that's the end of 4 after we've got through that. Sorry, that's the end of LO2. We've got through there. So work for next week. Get through. Just tidy up LO1 if you need to, and then have a dig at Unit 2. And of course, if you need any information in between, or need to talk to a friend, just send me a text or a mail or whatever. Yeah. And
for these 7:30 sessions, next week will be the last one, because it's the last week of fasting next week. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we should be able to get back to normal.
Yeah, I was talking to Nadia today. She said, we've only another week to go now.
Yeah. Luckily, it's been hard.
Manny, I don't think she's been fasting.
All right, okay.
Well, she said she was, and then she said she wasn't. It depends on how she feels.
Yeah, how she's feeling,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like that. I know Mohammed used to do that. I'm going to feast now this week, and then by Wednesday, well, I'll just have a look at crisps.
Yeah.
Well, it's up to you, for goodness sake. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay then.
Fantastic.
Okay for tonight then. Are you happy with that? You know exactly what you're doing.
Oh yes, definitely. It's given me a lot better information than when I was reading through it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just clarifying it, mainly. That's all.
True.
Okay, superb. You go and get the tea on.
Thank you.
I'll speak to you next week.
We'll speak to you next week. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.